Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And this week we are coming to you with another review episode. Just knocking out reviews all over the place.
Crushing it.
This week we are going to be reviewing DinoGenics. This is a 2019 release from designer Richard Keene, published by Ninth Haven Games with no artist credit. It plays 1 to 5 players, and it takes 90 to 120 minutes. Zach, do you have a rules rundown for us?
Yes, I do. In DinoGenics, you're competing dinosaur parks vying to be the best. Each round, you can place workers to gain DNA cards, get food for dinosaurs, build buildings and fences, and construct dinosaurs. To make a dinosaur, you need to turn in a certain number of their species DNA cards to place one in your park, or you can do a mix to place a mutant. At the end of each round, any dinosaurs not fed, if they're carnivore, or not correctly pinned in, will rampage, which can destroy buildings and kill visitors. Visitors will come to your park each round and get you income and then points if they survive till the end. After 6 rounds and a pre-round, whoever has the most points wins.
Indeed. Before we jump into this review, quick disclaimer. The copy that we are playing was given to us by Ninth Haven Games as a thank you for covering it, letting them kind of play test it at our game night and covering it on Kickstarter.
The designer is from around here.
Yeah, designer. Is it the designer, though? I think it's just somebody who works at Ninth Haven.
Okay. Well, you guys played it.
Yes.
There's pictures of you guys playing it at game night on the BGG page from before this hit Kickstarter.
Yep. Yeah, so we did a lot of play testing, and then we talked about it during Kickstarter. And so they gave us the game as a thank you. There was no expectation for us to review it, but it's a new hot game. We're not going to not review it.
You've handed us a game?
So just being upfront again, anytime we get a game even tangentially related to the show or tangentially because of the show, this one was kind of because of game night and because of the show together. So it's just being open and honest. It's what we do. So that's our disclaimer right there. Boom. Done.
Woo.
Which lets us move over to initial thoughts. So Zach, you and I were the first ones to play this game way back again, like we just said before the Kickstarter. What were your initial thoughts?
I could probably give you a date of roughly October 2017 on this photo.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. I feel like I had played Dinosaur Island at this point.
I think we have.
Yeah. And so I liked that, and I'm all about dinosaurs, so I was always interested in playing dinosaur-themed games. So
right on.
that's about it. Yeah.
I'm not nearly as dinosaurs are one of your immediately interested themes. It's not that way for me. I do like dinosaurs. I've liked dinosaurs since I was a kid, but it's not something where I actively seek out dinosaur themed games or stuff like that. But similar to you, we'd played Dino Island at the time, and it left me a little wanting. I didn't super love Dino Island in some ways, and DinoGenics seemed at face value to maybe fix some of those things I didn't like. So I thought it might be what I really wanted from Dino Island, from a worker placement, build a dino park game. Jeff, you didn't play it until we got this new copy.
Yeah.
This finished Kickstarter copy.
Yes.
What did you have as initial thoughts going into it?
I just remember seeing it at the game night, and I thought it was cool that he brought it out for play testing and stuff like that. And a bunch of people got to try it and kind of give their opinions on playing the game there. Didn't seem like anyone was like, this game sucks, or anything. And I was like, oh, we got a copy of it. Let's play that, because we haven't played Dinosaur Island in forever.
Yeah. Cool. We can move over to some components then. Talk about some components. So there's only one edition to this game. There's not, even though it came through Kickstarter, there's not a Kickstarter edition and then a retail edition. They just have the one they have, which is the one we have. Overall, components are fantastic. I would say the cards are pretty good quality. The player board, the main game board is good. It's laid out decently well. It's a little big, I think, for what it needs to be. It could be shrunk down
Maybe 10 or 15%.
I mean, the game itself is a pretty big table hog.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you factor in everything else that kind of goes along with it.
Yeah.
The player boards and then one of the like sideboards, it's like for tracking reputation and turn order are
And
all
visitors and all that stuff.
Yeah.
they're all double layered. So they're nice, got nice recess spots. The player boards themselves, especially, they went and recessed the shit out of them. So like over on the park side where you build fences is all recessed down. On the like visitor side where you place buildings, they all fit down in these little recess slots.
Mm-hmm.
And they even have little areas where you can grab the buildings out of those recesses easily.
Yes.
Yep. So they really went above and beyond on that. So I was talking to them, and it actually, after the printing was done, the printing company they used actually came to them and was like, hey, we would like to take this to demo at Gamma to show off to game companies what kind of precision we can do as far as like dual layering and cutouts and punch outs and things like that, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Definitely shows. The minis
definitely needs the recesses.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of cubes and stuff that you...
Yeah, I mean, Agricola doesn't have them, and you build fences and lay square discs on it. Like,
but what if they did?
Yes, it's better, but it doesn't need it. It's a great addition.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's a great addition. It's very noticeable.
There's even recesses for your workers.
Yeah, up in the top corner of your board. They just don't have a goat pen. They need a recessed goat pen.
There's nowhere to
really be.
There's nowhere to be like, this is where all of my resources and money and stuff goes. That's sort of just off to the side.
Off on the table around your board. But no, so the quality is amazing on the cardboard pieces. The wood pieces, the wooden meeples for your workers are wooden meeples. Nothing super special there.
They're not just a standard meeple though. They look like a taller, like I don't know, Lords of Waterdeep had like the taller ones, I guess.
Yeah.
All of your score tokens like screened with like your logo on it, which I thought was cool.
Company's logo.
It's not just an orange token.
Yeah.
It's got a fucking raptor on there.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on which group you are. Yeah.
I always played the Raptors, so.
And to go along with those, like in the rule book, there's an overview of like what the different companies are.
Yeah.
It's not really pertinent, but
it's just thematic.
A lot of flavor stuff like that. The dinosaur meeples are really done well. They're wood, not plastic like Dino Island. They're all different shapes and different colors. The herbivores are mostly variations of green.
The carnivores are mostly variations of brown. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mutants are gray.
Yep.
So you can kind of, at a glance, tell what types of animals people have in their parks.
Mm-hmm.
Have we talked about like the actual fences?
Oh, yeah. The fences are nice.
The fences are like fence meeples.
Yeah. They look really nice.
They're not just Agricola fences.
Yeah. I would definitely say
not just a long, thin piece of wood.
No,
they're shaped.
Yeah.
To be like security
seen
fences.
So many people, and I did this too the first time I saw them, try to put them in upside down. Like, it's like, oh, these are clearly the posts that the fence goes into the ground. No, it's like the tops of the fences that are jagged.
Otherwise, the dinosaurs could just slide right under there.
Yes. Like a motorcycle under a semi.
Exactly. Or a horse under a semi.
Yes. But yeah, tons of really good wooden components all around in that regard. The fences, your player meeples, the dino meeples, all of that. Real good components in that regard. I can't really think of any components I didn't like or that I have a complaint about.
The money is just cardboard shits.
Yeah.
It's just 1 or 3.
Which that'd probably be my only complaint now that I think about it. The 1s and 3s are exactly the same size and color, so like in a big pile, you can't really tell at a glance which ones are which.
I would say my only complaint is the the symbology for like real and it's like the font that they used on some of those things, like especially like the numbers. 7 looks like a question mark.
Yeah. Yeah, because we didn't really talk about specific art and graphic design stuff. Art on the board is good. It's really the only art in the game. But
I mean, besides the cards look good, but
oh yeah, the cards do have a lot. I never even look at them hardly.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what any given one of them really looks like.
The T-Rex looks like a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they have the dinosaur on them, but like I don't know like the setting like behind them. Like
right. No, it's dark.
Yeah.
So.
Overall, like the graphic design layout of the cards, I think is well. It communicates all the information you need on the card well. Like you said, in some places the font is questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really just those numbers, especially because they're all referenced on your player board, and sometimes reading those is a little tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're smaller, and then with that weird font.
There is small details.
Yeah. I wish some of the iconography on the player board was a little better,
Mhm.
like as to clearly, what symbol means you're selling or you're discarding, or like once you understand it and you know the game, it kind of makes sense. You can be like, I guess that's
Well, I mean,
means discard a scandal token, but it's the same as pay 2 money.
well, and it's basically it's in the rule books. It did say like this red symbol means you're getting rid of, the green ones you're picking up, and then like sort of the side is you're paying. And then like a gray up one is like upkeep during the upkeep phase.
Yeah, which reminds me of my biggest complaint from a graphic design perspective is one of the key things you're tracking, and this bleeds a little over to rules. We'll talk about this more.
Mhm.
One of the key things you're tracking, though, is your like park's dinosaur value, and you get that in victory points at the end of every round. So if your park's value is 10, you get 10 points at the end of the round, and then in the next round, if it's still 10, you get 10 more points. Whatever. The symbol they use in that dinosaur value tracker is like the victory point symbol. So a lot of cards and things that tell you that you get some of these, people kept thinking you're adding it to your dinosaur value.
Yep.
Which would then be, it'd be a recurring source of points if that was the case. When really, no, they're just one-time points or end game points.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd done a better job of differentiating there.
I think what they could have done is just not put that victory point symbol there and just be dinosaur value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Like you gain 3 DV or whatever.
Yeah.
Or have like a little, raptor or something. And then like somewhere else, end of turn, raptors equal victory points.
Yes. Yeah.
Or whatever symbol they choose for dino value.
Yeah.
Just something to have that extra step of differentiation between the two tracks.
And then for when you're putting the buildings down, you there's a little rectangle on the side, or the bottom
right corner.
That's either gray or green, and that you're either putting it on the park side or the administration side.
Yeah, and there's a tiny little victory point number in there too.
Yeah, and that could be a little bit clearer, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
Especially because you're like, if you're looking on green, because it says on there, it's like, you look for green, and that's where you put the park. But there's a lot of buildings that have a lot of green on them, but then it's gray in that box, and then you're like, which I'd seen people confuse the two. So
yeah, I think that's roughly it for components. Some of that art and graphic design stuff will come up a little bit more in the rules and rules explanation.
Yeah.
So let's move over to rules and rules explanation. Wow, the rule book is bad. I'm just gonna start there. The rule book is real bad. It's easily my least favorite part about this game. There's a fair amount of things that are left really ambiguous. Top to bottom, like setup's not super clear in some areas about what you're setting up and how. Or it's just like not laid out well, I guess is really the bigger problem. Like it's all there. You can set up the game with them, but it could be laid out, I feel like, much better for setup. And then for actual gameplay, like even things like the preseason, like it doesn't ever actually say that preseason you don't do all of the open season steps. Like even on the little player aid cards, it says open season and then parentheses, in preseason don't take visitors.
Yeah.
But that still makes it sound like you do everything. Like one of the times I played it, people were a little confused, like why we weren't moving a news event in at the start of the preseason. It was like, no, because the preseason, we don't do any of the board refresh. None of it. And so I think that could have been a lot clearer. Issues like we talked about a little bit with the graphic design thing of the dinosaur value versus victory point thing is something that could have been cleared up easily in a rule book as well. There are several different rules questions that came up. Like we're still not entirely sure if you build a dinosaur and you get the dinosaur value and the reputation value for it, and then later on you use a card to get rid of that dinosaur. Do you lose those? Do they stay?
We assume
you lose them. You don't have
lose,
the dinosaur anymore. You don't get the bonus from the dinosaur anymore. But the game certainly never tells you one way or the other. It never even mentions that you could ever lose dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lot of weirdness there.
I do appreciate that they have the different buildings like in sort of what they're supposed to do. That's always nice. But
if it didn't, that would be real bad in this because the buildings themselves.
The iconography is not.
No,
On those is real bad.
Yeah.
we had to look a lot of what they do.
I just
up.
always look them up.
Yeah.
And, like, you just when you put out the new buildings each round, just look up what the 3 new ones are and tell people, because
Yeah.
the iconography, even after playing it several times, the iconography on those doesn't make sense.
And there, I mean, it does have a name of what the building is, but it's very small and off to the left. Like,
Yeah. And then the section in the book
vertically,
with all
so-
the buildings is in, as far as I can tell, a random order. Like, I'm sure there's some kind of an order that it is that they group them by, but it is functionally random because there's no clear grouping like, oh, this is park buildings or not park buildings, or this is like end game scoring and this is like recurring scoring, or there's no discernible groupings, and they're not in alphabetical order. So you're just, all right, let me find the one I'm looking for somewhere on the page.
yeah.
Really annoying.
There are some good files on BGG to help with that, but
Yeah.
you have to go there, as is tradition.
Yeah. I don't want to rely on users
Yeah.
to fix all of my problems.
But it's weird that they included that, but not ones for like the manipulation cards.
I mean, it's a huge deck. I get
I-
it in that regard.
But I mean, I feel like there are a lot of repeats in that. But really, because there were just some of them that were like, I don't really understand.
Like ones where it was like, choose 2 in the construction deck. Like, do I choose 1 and then I can choose the one under there? Can I choose, like, do they have to both be face up? And then there's just no real way to clear that up.
Yeah.
Are they going in the same spot, or can you split them up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wasn't like, there wasn't anything that we weren't able to understand. Like, but there were definitely some times where like, well, we think it means this.
I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of things that we just kind of guessed on and then just ran with it.
That's
Which I don't know if that counts as figuring it out. Like,
right.
For all we know, there's like a great example is the city center action. So you do 2 actions in the city center.
Yeah.
And yeah, they have to be 2 different ones. And the actions are use the market, build a fence, build a building, repair a building. And then in the rule book for use a market, it says that you can build or sell. It doesn't say build and or sell, and it doesn't say
Well,
whether
you mean
you can
buy or sell.
Buy or sell, sorry. Buy or sell. It doesn't say whether you can do either of those more than once, or if you can buy and sell. Like, because I could see like, oh, you can buy or sell. Like,
Yeah.
you need to be more specific in a rule book, whether it's a binary choice, like either buy or sell, not both, or do you mean when I go to the market, I can buy or sell or whatever I want to do as much as I want to do. We played it very as written that it's, you do the market, you do 1 buy or 1 sell.
And then there's a card that is you get to do city center actions of your choice for how many people there. Is that still following that you have to do different rules, or can you do the same ones over and over again because of the card?
Because you can have like 5 with that action card.
Yeah. So
And there's only 4 actions.
Well, and does it count as, is using the market the action, or is use the market buy 1 action, use the market sell another action?
Yeah.
Again, not clear.
Yep.
Tons of stuff like that in the rules that aren't, and some of those don't even have like quick BGG. Like, we do a quick BGG lookup, and there wasn't really answers for even on BGG or anything about them,
Or conflicting answers.
Yes.
or
There is a 2-page FAQ that answered a couple in there,
Jesus Christ,
but not enough.
Not enough. Yeah.
I hadn't seen that. I'll have to print it out and throw it in the game because it desperately needs. Like, they've got like a 6-question FAQ in the rule book that, again, it's another example of things like this where I read it. I'm like, who is asking these questions? How is this a frequently asked question?
Yeah.
Like, none of these seem like questions that should be regularly asked.
Yeah.
Where's the answers to the questions I'm actually asking? Like, come on. Yeah. Wish they'd done a better job in that regard.
Yeah.
Anything else for rules explanation for you guys?
I mean, I felt like it was easy. Like, what did you think of the teach of it?
I thought it was easy enough to teach. It's a pretty straightforward worker placement game.
Yeah. You just
I never saw the rule book.
Right. Yeah. And you're taking your turn, and go for it.
The one nice thing is like the little player aid cards do walk you really well through the open season and the upkeep steps.
Yeah.
So you teach the basic game, like, hey, we're going to have this open season, which basically we do a bunch of prep stuff. And then the last action of open season is players take actions. All right. So you're going to be taking actions with your workers. You've got 3 or 4 or maybe 5. here's what the different, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 different spots do. Like, not that many spots to explain, and those are really easy to explain. Side A, side B, you're getting DNA. You're turning DNA at DinoGenics. You're doing those city center actions. They're all of the actions themselves are self-explanatory. That's not a problem. So I think teaching how to play at a high level, like at a base level, like a real simple overview.
Yes. Very
easy.
high level. Yeah, it's easy. Yeah.
It's getting down in the details and the weeds where all these questions come up where it's like, well, shit, I don't know. I guess like this, or well, we've played it like this.
Even the Triceratops's like rule was like, how exactly do you score that herd thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was also used the dinosaur value. It used the victory point one. Is it as a dinosaur value, or do you just get a point whenever you make another one, sort of speak? So
yeah.
Lots
of things like that. I think we'll cover some more rule stuff here as we talk about gameplay, because they go hand in hand. But let's officially move over to gameplay. So I have played this game now at 3, 4, and 5 players. 3 and 5 with the new finished Kickstarter version. 4 with the old pre-Kickstarter prototype copy. What about you guys? What player counts did you end up with?
Same for me.
Okay.
Just 3.
Just 3 for you, Jeff? Okay. So it's a worker placement game for the most part. Like, that's the key component. There's a little bit of set collection in terms of getting DNA to do your dinosaurs. Worker placement, like, it scales a little bit with player count. Like, at 4 and 3 players, you're covering up certain spots with unavailable tokens. But I don't know, I really felt this after our last play, because I hadn't played in a long time with my 4-player, and I remember liking it back when I played pre-Kickstarter. I remember really liking it. Then we played a few of those 3-player games, and it just wasn't clicking for me. It was really bizarre. Like, the first one I just chalked off as like, whatever, we're learning it, it's different, it was a bad game, whatever, I'll write it off, I liked it in the past. And then I played it again, and I still didn't like it. And then I played it another time at 3 players, and I still wasn't liking it. And I think I remember quipping, like, I could have sworn I remembered this being a good game. And then we thankfully played the 5-player game recently, and the 5-player game reminded me of what I liked about it. And at 3, I think the problem is it scales, but it doesn't scale well enough. The actions don't feel tight enough.
Yes.
You can still, in a 3-player game, do almost everything.
Yeah, because, I mean, this is definitely a standard worker placement in that regard, and a lot of the tension in worker placement games come from restriction and blocking. And in our games of 3-player, I never felt a tension from that. I was always just like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and like even with the additional the additional, like, covered up spots from playing with just 3. Like, when making a dinosaur, everybody can make a dinosaur each round if they wanted to. Like, everybody had a chance to.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were playing with 5, there's only 4 spots. So, immediately, like, you can see from the board state just that if everybody wanted to make a dinosaur at once, you wouldn't be able to without using, there is a spot that lets you
pay 2 extra to go to a full spot.
Yeah, yes. So you could do that if you really needed to. But being able to, when you're playing with the full complement of players, you really start to feel the restriction of the spaces more than you did with 3.
Well, especially because that like use of full space, that gets used on the ones that only have like 1 or 2 open things.
Yeah.
Way before it get used on Build a Dinosaur where there's 4 open spaces. I think also in 4 and 3 players, it limits you to 3 workers, and then you add a 4th one midway through.
No, that's 2 and 3 players. 4 and 5 have so it's what did you say? Sorry,
3 and then 4. At 4 and 5.
Oh,
and then at 2 and 3.
Yes,
is where you have 4, and then you get a 5th.
I thought you were saying at 3 and 4 players.
Oh no,
no, yeah.
In 4 and 5 players, you get 3, and then in mid game you add a 4th worker.
Yes.
In 2 and 3 player games, you start with 4 workers, and then mid game add a 5th. And having more workers in those lower player counts, I think, also takes away from that tension, because you like, it makes it easier. There's less people taking up the spots, and you have more actions. So it just double takes away any of the tension of the worker placement side of that game.
Yes.
And you end up just kind of doing everything you want and just hope that you are the one. And that's where you really feel the problem I was having. You really start to feel the randomness of both the manipulation deck and the DNA deck.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess I'm going to go get DNA. Hopefully I get good DNA.
Maybe you'll get one of 7 different dinosaurs.
Because, there's 7. Is it 7 different dinosaurs or 8?
7 with an 8th, including the
mutant,
eight
right?
Mutants. Is
I think it's. Oh yeah, yes.
And so you definitely, because it's all drawn from a deck of cards. We definitely I know we were playing once, and you had 8 cards in your hand, and you're only limited to 10, and you had 8 cards in your hand, and all but 1 were unique.
Yeah, I had all 7 dinosaurs in a hand of 8 cards,
Mm-hmm.
and some dinosaurs only need 2 DNA cards to make them.
Yep,
it's 2 to 4.
Well, yeah.
But most of them, I feel like, are 3.
Most
to
are
4.
3. There's 1 4.
Is there only 1 4?
Yes, the Brontosaurus.
I thought the pterodactyl
Pterodactyl's also 4.
That's 3.
Oh,
yeah.
T-Rex is also 3.
Yes.
Okay.
That's because the Brontosaurus is the only one that doesn't need a pen.
Yeah.
So it's easy to put out once you get the cards.
Yeah.
And it's a big fucker.
and the pterodactyl needs that special building.
Exactly. Yeah. So if it was 4 and the special building.
Oh my god, they'd be so hard.
Although I wouldn't know, since I never built a pterodactyl. Did you ever build one?
Nope.
I feel like it was just Adrian every single
I built
time.
so many pterodactyls. That's fine. I never built a T-Rex, so
all the T-Rexes all the time.
Yeah, and especially since you at most draw 2 cards, aside from the manipulation card that lets you draw a number of players plus 2 cards.
Yes.
Most of the worker placement spots, the most you're going to get is 2 cards at a time,
or
so
a 3 to 1. You're like you can
draw 3, discard 1.
So
but when you're trying to get
exactly
3 or 4 of a kind,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I've got a Brontosaurus card in my hand. How do I get 3 more Brontosaurus
Yeah.
cards? You get really fucking lucky on 2 draws.
Yes.
And I felt that even in the 5th game,
Mhm.
that's where I felt like I have some issues with the marketplace. And this goes back to that rules issue of we might not have been playing right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I want a house rule sometime and have use market as that's the action. And when you use the market, you buy and sell as much as you want in any order you want. Because there were times when there were 2 or 3 dinosaurs I wanted in the market, but I couldn't get because I couldn't buy.
I mean, in the player aid thing that people have made, it is buy or sell. So I mean, even in player aids, people are playing it that way. So
yeah.
Which, especially in the 3-player game, it was weird. It didn't feel tight anywhere except for the market, where the market completely breaks down at 3 players. There's not enough selling
because the market only
never
moves,
refreshes.
Yeah, it only moves through players selling there, and then the cards stay there until someone buys them. Say there are 2 pterodactyl cards out there, and people aren't hurting for money, so they're not selling anything, but also they're not buying them because the biome isn't out. Then those are just going to stay there for the entire game.
Yeah.
And how the boneyard gets refreshed is through selling, which if you're not selling enough to push anything in there, then the boneyard just stays there the entire time. The at least 2 of the 3 player games we played, nothing got added to the boneyard
Ever.
It was just what you do 4 in the beginning, and then that's it.
Yep. So somebody'd take 1 or 2, and then the other ones would just sit there.
Yeah.
Because it's really only, I feel like the boneyard's only good for super high level dinosaurs because you get a scandal token.
Yes.
You get one DNA card and a scandal token.
I would say it's good for if you just need one of whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I have 2 T-Rex. There's another T-Rex in there. It cuts out that randomness of the fact that it's hey, it's public information, but I know that there's a T-Rex in there. I can go and get it. Sure, you'll get a scandal token for it, but it's usually worth it in that regard.
Yeah.
So what did you think about making the dinosaurs? The actual action of doing a dinosaur, and then we can talk about the dinosaurs themselves too.
Yeah. So I like it in theory. I like set collections a game mechanic I tend to be okay with. And I think they did a decent enough job balancing. I think some the Stego probably could have been a 2 card and not a 3 card. Maybe shifted that average down just a bit. It's just because of the randomness of the deck, it's a crapshoot, which takes all the fun out of making dinosaurs.
And then I would also say, except for very few cases of manipulation deck cards or buildings, there isn't really a way to mitigate
No.
the randomness. So
Because there's that one building
yeah,
that lets you use a wild card for
Yes.
anything.
or there are certain manipulation ones that you're like, hey, as long as you have one, you can
Yeah.
make whatever it is.
Yeah, or like Megan got a good building in our last game that was when you take Site B action,
Mhm.
which is the draw 3, discard
Yes.
2.
Yeah,
And that one, it was just discard 1. So it's
Mhm.
draw 3, keep 2.
yeah,
Which then makes it better than Site A, which is just draw 2.
yeah.
So you
But-
get a little bit more.
A little bit more, but so
Not
in,
much.
in Dinosaur Island, and I know we'll be making comparisons to this game.
I've been trying to avoid
yeah.
them. Yeah.
But how you make a dinosaur is you just need certain DNA
Resource collection.
and so you can get that a variety of different ways in there, and then it's just about getting that right amount. Whereas this one, you need the specific cards. So no matter what, if you want to build a T-Rex, if you just don't see a third T-Rex card, and
You're never building
you're
one.
never building it. And even though there are buildings, there's a building that lets you help with that. You might not see it, or you see it too early, like because the building that lets you use a random one costs 12, and it could come out in the early game, and then
No one's going to be able to afford that.
yeah, no one's gonna be able to afford it, and then it just gets buried by that. So there is some mitigation, but it's you're either looking for that one or two buildings, or you're looking for the manipulation cards that let you do it.
Which are just,
Another-
you're using randomness to try to mitigate randomness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that kind of rapidly falls apart.
Yeah.
Well, and there is the boneyard.
Well, yes, but
That's the only sort of like I get to pick which card I want.
yeah, and like we said, it has to be that's sort of
It just
player fed.
Yeah.
So someone has to get rid of a T-Rex card.
And then it has to go through all 3 steps of the market
Yeah.
and then into the boneyard.
Yeah.
But
Unless-
then if they sell it, then you can buy one. But
Unless there's that manipulation card that makes people discard into there. And
exactly, yeah. So the dinosaurs themselves, unlike Dinosaur Island, they are unique. So
They actually have different
powers.
effects.
yes, well, that's what I mean by that. Sorry, yes, they have powers. So
Sweet dinosaur
yes,
powers.
a Triceratops just needs 1 space, where like a Stegosaur needs 2. A T-Rex needs 3. A Brontosaurus can be out in its own space.
Brontosaurus has to be out
yeah.
in its own
So if you
space.
actually pen it, then it rampages.
It gets angry.
It gets hangry.
But it's not 2 spaces per stegosaur.
No.
It just, when you fence it, it needs 2 spaces, and then you can put one there.
Yes.
And then you can put another one next to it.
Yeah.
But it has to be at least 2
yeah.
spaces.
Yes, and then if you have an extra space for that, you can only put the same dinosaur in it, except for the one, the Ankylosaur.
Whose special power is it can join any other
Yes.
dinosaur.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I do like that the special powers are a wide variety. So like the Stegosaur gives you extra money.
It's
Each-
a popular
it's a
dinosaur.
Proud pleaser.
Proud
pleaser.
Whereas like you got the Raptors who like they only require 1 space and they only require 2 cards, but
And they give you a bunch of excitement
Yeah.
and a good amount of reputation.
but they're carnivores, so they need to eat, and then they're clever. So normally when something rampages, you roll a die. Hey, more randomness in here.
Which, well,
Yeah.
and it rampages if you can't feed it.
Yes,
Yeah.
but yeah, if
there's like 6 different things that are like,
yeah,
it rampages if.
If it can't have it's not caged correctly.
Yes.
Or whatever.
but normal rampage rules are you roll a die, and then the best result is a smiley face.
nothing.
Nothing, and you.
it's better than nothing.
yeah.
It's naive visitor, you get $1.
Yeah, basically.
Yes,
They
that's
thought
right.
it was a show
He thought
and
it
they
was-
pay you.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, totally. And then 4 out of 6 are the slashes, which they destroy a building. And there's an order for that. It's like a facility in their pen, and then the pen. And then if they've already broken a pen,
Or something else is broken
yes,
out. Yeah.
then it's a building of your choice, basically.
Yeah.
And then,
So chomp chomp.
yeah. And sorry, that was 3 out of 6 for that, not
Yeah.
4, because 2 out of 6 is the worst one, which is basically not only did they destroy a building, they also kill a visitor.
Yes.
And if you kill a visitor, you get a scandal. Shocking.
Ooh.
Which I don't know if we ever mentioned that scandals are just -6 points at the end of the game,
I don't think so.
but you are able to get rid of them.
Yeah. There's 2 spots
Mm-hmm.
in one action.
Yep.
That just boop, gone.
Yeah. So the Raptors, because they're clever, anytime they do any damage, they also kill a person.
Yeah.
So there you have a 5 out of 6 chance. So it's like, hey, it's cheap to build and whatnot, but you're fucked if you accidentally rampage.
Yeah.
And like the T-Rex, because it's massive and a dick, it will roll 2 dice.
That's a special power.
Yes.
It rolls 2 dice when it rampages.
Yeah.
Yeah. The special powers, not always good.
No.
Yeah. I like the mutants one. If you feed them, they multiply.
You feed them 2 and then they breed.
Yeah.
They're the only dinosaur on the island that breeds.
Yes.
Yep.
You must have used frog DNA or something. The pterodactyls have to be housed in a special building, the biodome.
So you're paying 7 for that building in the first place.
Yeah. And it can hold... Now, granted, the biodome can do a lot more than just hold pterodactyls. It can hold any 2 dinosaurs as long as they are compatible. So it can hold like an ankylosaur and literally anything else or a pair of anything, regardless of size. So you can stick 2 T-Rexes in there that need the 3 space, or you could stick 2 Brontosauruses in there and then fill the rest of your park with fences, and they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
But pterodactyls, if they're not in there, they, turns out, could just fly up over the fences and go eat people. So they rampage all the time if they're not in a biodome.
Yeah. So I do like how different all the dinosaurs
They actually feel different.
And so when you're planning your park and you're looking at your cards, you're going to be like, if I have Brontosaurs and T-Rexes and Raptors in my hand, it's going to be different.
Oh, you can't put you can't put a Brontosaurus in the biodome.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
You can't?
No.
Oh.
That counts as a fenced pen. So it will immediately rampage.
Does that say that specifically in that FAQ?
Yes.
Oh.
But you wouldn't want to put one in there.
It'd be a bad choice.
Yes.
But the biodome in the rules says it can house any compatible dinosaur.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, I think it's saying that it could house it. It's just going to immediately start rampaging. Yeah. And it can't destroy the biomes.
It takes up 1 space, but it's a 3 space for a T-Rex. Why couldn't it be an infinite space for a, again?
Well, because the Brontosaurus special rampage.
The Brontosaurus just doesn't like to be in any pen. Even if you penned the entire park, exterior and you put he's going to get mad.
He hates fences.
He hates boundaries. So, and that, I would say that makes sense then. Maybe not like total logistical sense, but through the rules of the games, I would buy that.
Yeah. Even then, I'm not sure. But yeah. So that is one thing I do really like. The dinosaurs do all feel unique, and you have to take into account what each dinosaur does and how it does it in your park design.
Especially because this is one where it's just because of the game rules. You can't move the dinosaur. You can move fences and shit around, but you can't move dinosaurs and you can't move buildings once you've put
the dinosaur's there.
Yeah.
You can tear down the fences around them and move them around how much you want, but the dinosaur will be right there.
Yeah.
It is somehow easier to move entire fences than it is to move a single Triceratops anywhere in the park.
A single raptor.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And also that dinosaurs can only, it's 1 space per dinosaur, or dinosaur is only 1 per space.
Yes.
Which feels weird that a raptor is the same size as a T-Rex or a Brontosaurus in that regard. But yeah.
Well, and your park is a 3x4 outside grid and 7 spaces for buildings.
Yeah.
It's a little odd that, you can build the 3-sized pen for T-Rexes and put 3 T-Rexes in them and they're all happy.
Yeah.
Good luck feeding them. But
as long as you're feeding them.
Oh boy.
But if you want 3 raptors, you need to build a 3-sized pen to put all 3 raptors in and have them happy.
Yes.
And so, that does seem just a bit odd.
But I think the main reason why is that, so the dinosaurs are piece limited. So everything that isn't a mutant, there's only 6. So there's only 6 raptors, 6 T-Rexes. And that's for everybody, not 6 per player.
Yeah.
And even the mutants, only 12.
12. So that would make, once again, it makes sense game-wise that there's only 6 raptors. And so it's only 1 per space because then you could just start hoarding them. But it does feel a bit weird just from thinking about it from a thematic. Because it's that's an empty spot. If there's just 1 raptor,
it's a lot of acres for 1 raptor.
Yes.
I'm honestly kind of surprised there isn't a dinosaur that's special ability is you can fit 2 of them in the same space.
Yeah.
That seems maybe have a super small dino like a Compy.
Yeah.
Compies get referenced on the manipulation cards and the news events, but they never show up in the, so maybe
for the expansion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Giving them ideas.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think of the breaking news now that you mentioned them?
I liked them.
Okay.
For the most part.
They're basically events that happen each round that can either happen immediately or they change how the round is going to act.
Or there's extra action spaces.
Yes.
Yeah, so 6 of them will happen in a game, and by happen immediately, they happen immediately when they're moved into the current
Yes.
season.
You'll-
The nice thing is you see them a turn in advance.
Yeah,
So
you see the
get-
upcoming.
You get to prepare for all of them. Now you can choose to ignore that, like Shion, who sees in setup that hey,
Shion, it rhymes with neon.
that's right, Shion. Wow. See, I never see her anymore, so I just don't even remember how to say her name.
Who?
Yeah.
Sean. I think it's Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
Shion sees that the upcoming event is everybody who has goats will have to destroy one goat for every 3 DNA cards in her hand. Her first action takes goats. Her second action takes DNA cards. So when that comes into effect in the next turn, she's like, yeah, well, I only have to lose 1. I was like, no. 1 per every 3. And she fans out her 6 cards and goes, no, I was a fool.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't have to plan for them, but you can.
Or you can get a free mutant and just
Yes.
let him roam around.
Yes.
And everyone thinks it's a great show and gives me $1.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll take the rampage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so they can, like you're saying, they can add extra special spots.
Yeah.
That are like
Super versions of
super versions of regular spots, and that definitely incentivizes you because, like we were saying, you get to see them upcoming. That you need to be first or second.
Yeah. Because they'll be gone.
Yeah, which turn order in here is based on reputation, which is how. What dinosaurs you have, if you have fancy dinosaurs, or if you have certain buildings that give you reputations, or you just get a manipulation card that lets you just to go up reputation by 4.
Oh, that's that like disease one, right?
No.
Or was that, I think
was
that's victory points.
Yeah, that was victory points. It was contagion.
Yeah.
That let me do it. And I basically got, I was known as the person that poisoned the
The Triceratops.
no, it was the
Pterodactyl.
pterodactyl. And so I got a bunch of reputation for it.
Yeah.
Which in this world, apparently, any reputation is good
Yeah.
reputation.
So I know for those manipulation cards, there are ones that are interactive in that respect, like that one, or
So moving on from
Yeah.
breaking news.
Sorry, yes.
To the manipulation cards.
yes,
The sort of, I don't know, fuck you cards.
or just ability cards, because
Yeah.
there are some that are interactive and some that aren't, and I think they're labeled, so you can take out the fuck you card part if you
okay.
want.
We didn't.
We never did.
Of course not.
Those were real popular
Yes,
all the time.
Yes.
Because they're so good.
Yeah. So I mean, there are some that aren't nearly as good as others,
No.
or some that are very situational. Like there's one that's
The hotel one.
the hotel one that Adrian always gets again. I don't know why, but you've only had that
Oh.
one. The Infest Hotels.
no,
I've never seen.
I boned him with
Oh,
it.
you did?
Yeah, because
Oh.
he built a
Yeah.
fuckload of hotels, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll build a hotel. And that's when you were like, we don't get more visitors, right? And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, yeah, I know. Give me all your visitors.
Yeah,
'cause-
he did it first. And then I saw how well it worked for Jeff.
Yeah.
So when I got that card, I was like, oh,
Yeah. Okay. My bad. But yes, so that one can really fuck over people. And there's one that makes you either get a scandal or discard a DNA card to the boneyard.
Yeah. And then if you have less scandals than someone, you get like
4 points.
4 points.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you get to get one of the cards that someone basically got rid of.
And then you get a free card.
Yeah. But then there's also like a research one where you get to do set like the amount of players plus 2 for DNA cards. So when we were playing 5 players, like I played that card and I got 7 DNA, and
Which
then
is nuts.
and then you can hand them out to other people, and then for anybody who doesn't get one, you get a scandal. But early in the game, especially because you're playing those manipulation cards, the spot that lets you get manipulation cards also gets rid of a scandal.
Yeah.
So early on, it's like I don't really care that much about it, because when we did 3-player, so I got 5 cards. I just said fuck it, and I just kept them all because I got 2 scandals off of it.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I can go to the agency twice and then I'm rid
I
of
get
it.
4 awesome cards.
Yeah, and I got
and-
5 great DNA cards.
Yeah.
But in our 5-player game, I had a lot of great manipulation cards, whereas Megan, she had shitty cards the entire time, right, Adrian?
Oh, yeah. Her manipulation cards were garbage. She showed them to me a couple times. She was like, you guys are getting all these things that are doing really well for you. And I keep getting, what was the one that she had that was the bullshit?
The mutant one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the mutant one is very situational. Like Ben used it and it worked well for him because it's like you kill a dinosaur and however many cards it takes to make it, you get to put that many mutants out.
So you can just fucking like, here's a fuckload of mutants.
Yeah, so you can kill a brontosaurus that is 5 points, and then you get to and make four mutants, and that's worth 8 points now. But you have to have the fence supporting, being able to support 4 mutants coming in at once, and still that's only a gain of 3.
Yeah,
you basically have to be working towards that specifically.
My favorite is the die roll to get a free dinosaur.
Yes,
and a scandal.
And the thing is, you get to choose another person's dinosaur, so it's like you play that card. And I remember I was like, I want your T-Rex, Jeff. I roll it, and I don't get the basically it's a 3+ as you like to call it, and I just got a free T-Rex.
Yeah,
and you're like, like you're looking, like Jeff spent time looking for those cards and making like.
Or like a 4-card Brontosaur that I got that Adrian built on fucking turn 1 or whatever.
Well, because I built it with a manipulation card that was like, discard the number of cards you need, and as long as one of them matches, you're good. So I was like, well, here's 4 cards. One of them's a Brontosaurus. I get a Brontosaurus. And you're like, I do a manipulation. I steal your Brontosaurus.
And I had to make your clone. And I had to make the Brontosaurus like God intended with 4 cards.
Like 3 turns later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that are super powerful.
Yeah.
And that really kept me in the game because I was just like, I have a Triceratops. Like, he's got a fucking Brontosaurus.
Yes.
Like, no, I have a Brontosaurus.
Yes. So that manipulation deck can really save you or fuck you if you just aren't getting the right cards.
Yep.
But it also means the uplink spots are super important because there's only 2 of them, and I think that stays the same no matter what the player count.
You need to go to a space to play that card.
Exactly, yeah.
It's not like play it out of your hand or anything like that.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about visitors at all.
No, we haven't.
Because they're a non-thing.
Yeah, it's just start of every round. It sort of kind of gets passed around between everyone.
Yeah.
Well,
depending on what position you are in turn order,
it's
you get a set
thing.
amount.
Yeah, it's another thing that really helps being first player, which I haven't seen anything so far that has hurt first player in this.
No, first players. You absolutely in this game. It's a fight to be first player,
especially in the 5-player game.
And there's a lot of tiebreakers. And there's a lot of tiebreakers.
There's a lot of tiebreakers.
We commonly in the 3-player game went to like 2nd or 3rd.
Yes,
for player order.
Yeah, well, I mean, because first is just
reputation,
which it's really easy depending on what mix of dinosaurs you have for multiple people to have the same reputation. Then it's number of buildings, and especially early on, everybody's probably building about a building around. Those are probably tied. And then it goes finally to current money on hand, which is usually enough to break it.
Yeah, and during that 5-player game, so on that one, I ended up getting first. Adrian got second. And I think we were either first, second, or third the entire game, except for maybe one round where one of us was 4th. But otherwise, we were like, because we're building better dinosaurs, we get to go first, and that lets us have a better chance of getting other shit.
Yeah, it lets us, if the news event's a worker placement spot, we're the first 2 to get it. If, there's a really good card in the market or a really good building that comes out, we get to be the ones to get it. Like, it really, first kind of can be runaway-ish. Like,
well, because, I mean, there's nothing, there's only like one card I've seen that's like, hey, you get to play this card and you get points for everybody ahead of you on the reputation track.
Yeah, or on the initiative track.
Like 2 different people got to play that.
Yeah, which was 8 points each time, which worked really well in 5 players, where it wouldn't work as well with
in
less.
3-player, yeah. And I said runaway later. I don't think because I haven't seen anybody run away.
No.
But it's a
that first game.
If you're playing well, you're going to be getting things that help you keep doing well.
Yes,
it doesn't quite lead to a runaway situation, but especially because everybody's so clearly like first is so useful, people fight for it.
Yeah,
it's pretty rare for only 2 players to just swap first and second all game. With only occasional dips back. But
scores were pretty close, pretty much the whole game until the end.
Yeah.
In our games.
Yeah.
Until Zach got that fucking building that was like, hey, here's an extra 5 points a turn.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, Adrian, it's me and you.
Yeah, Zach just slowly gets further and further away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that in our 5-player game too.
Yeah, not wrong.
I mean, different mechanisms, same effect.
Same effect.
Yeah.
Got the thing that made him get the more points.
Yeah. He got the thing where he did it once, and I was like, all right, well, good game, Zach.
Yeah. Well, that's saying once you, like, if you build a high-value dinosaur, then you're going to be, like, the T-Rex is 3 cards and is worth 7 points a round, whereas the Stegosaurus is worth like 2 points a round or something like that. And so there are definitely cards like, or the mutants is like 3 of any card, which is nice, but they're only worth 2 points around. They also don't give you any reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a hierarchy of the animals, the dinosaurs you want to get, that is based on more or less on randomness.
Yeah.
On if you are like, I remember one of the games we played, I think I had 2 raptors in my hand, like after one draw of cards or whatever. Like I got 5 cards and 4 of them were raptors in my hand. It's like, oh sweet, I can just start building these and just start getting a bunch of points and reputation now.
Yep.
Whereas Adrian had 5 different ones in his hand, and it's like you could have put 1 mutant, but that wouldn't have been worth anything.
Mutants are God. I don't know. Somebody said that they had a person in one of their games who got like second by building all 12 mutants. And I guess, if you want to go just bonkers hard on mutants.
That's not even with like the buildings that make them better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that player had like everything mutant related, but typically I just feel like mutants are such a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, they're nice. The only thing they're nice at is if you have good like food generation, the fact that you can grow them without having to play cards.
Yeah.
That's the only good thing I can really see about them.
Yeah. But there's not really good food generation in the game.
There are some buildings that do one, or if you get the manipulation cards that let you get like 6 food.
Shoot one of your own dinosaurs.
Kill another dinosaur to get 6 food.
But you also get 2 cards that might, even still you'd get 4 off of it. And the spot itself is 3. And so, yeah.
The nice thing is that mutants don't ever require food.
Yes.
So it's only when you feed them, they grow.
Uh-huh.
And then once you get to a certain point, you're just like, I don't need to feed all these 12 mutants.
Yes.
They've been raised on a diet of meat, but now they're going vegetarian.
Omnivores.
So, well, I think that about covers it for me. Anything else for you guys?
There's no reason to have an odd number of visitors, which I always thought was weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
That's
That's
just
the
risk?
entire reason the timeshare exists.
Yeah.
Is so you can go and get 1 money and 1
Yeah.
extra visitor to
Yep.
get an even number and basically bump up 3 points.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Still not worth it.
No.
Yeah.
No. I guess it gives you a little bit more leeway to like risk a rampage. Like, if they eat the one guy, it's not a problem.
Yeah, because it's 3 points for every 2,
Yeah.
which I will say though, it's nice that in one of the games we played, like Adrian, like you were having a shitload of visitors, whereas I had just 4 the entire time, and that didn't stop me from not winning or from you for running away with it. Because
I have rocked visitors in like my last 2 games,
Yeah.
and I've only won 1 of them.
yes,
It's not a surefire. Like, it helps because getting a lot of visitors will get you a lot of money, and this is kind of a game where money is important.
Yeah.
So that helps, but it's not always
No.
key. There's a lot of other things you can do.
yeah,
Because you're wasting time building hotels and doing things like that.
Exactly.
That could be doing other things to get other points.
yes,
So,
Yeah.
Well, let's jump over to some final thoughts. Let's start with you, Jeff.
It's an interesting worker placement game. I think it's not great across all player counts. I would only recommend it at like 4 or 5.
hmm
I think 2 would even be pretty not great because it just shuts down even more spots, but it's still not tight enough
yeah,
with that. And a lot of the building tiles also aren't great at all player counts. Like there's one where you get Triceratops points based on other people's Triceratops, but that's only really effective against maybe 1 other person in a 3-player game, where in a 5-player game, there could be like a bunch of players with Triceratops.
It's weird that there are some cards and things that are affected by the amount of players and others that aren't.
Yeah. It would be nice if there was like 2-player cards, 3-player cards, like 4+ player cards, stuff like that would sort of thin out some of those things in the game. I thought that could help this game. I like that the scandal tokens are wood tokens. I don't know. It's like everything's sort of wood tokens except the money
And the blocking tokens.
It would be nice if the money was something nice, but I mean, it doesn't have to be the dark matter that is
Dinosaur Island.
Dinosaur Island coins. I liked it once you sort of got around like the little fiddly bits of rules in there. I liked that the dinosaurs were more unique that we mentioned than Dinosaur Island. I'm just going to compare it to Dinosaur Island over and over now.
I will be doing that too.
Yeah.
So.
Do I like it more than Dinosaur Island? I don't know. I like it about the same as Dinosaur Island. I like it but it's a worker placement game. I like this as a worker placement game. The other one's like a resource management game. I think this one edges out because I like worker placement a little bit more. I wish the board was smaller and it wasn't fucking colossal to set up. But I thought it was good, but not blow my mind good.
Don't you know, Jeff, that any given dinosaur game has to be the size of a literal dinosaur?
Yeah. Not that Dinosaur Island is any smaller to take up any amount of board space. If you want
a dinosaur game, it's going to be the size of a dinosaur.
Yeah. We didn't have to set up at least 3 other sideboards to play this game.
You're not wrong.
Just one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's only one sideboard per player, not the 2, and then other shit.
Yes.
So...
and I wish all the like little detail, like numbers, I would make them bigger. I mean, you have plenty. Are you really hiding the okay art on these tiles by making that so small in the corner?
Yeah.
Oh, biggest complaint. The name on the actual buildings is way too small when you have to try and find out looking up those buildings and stuff.
It's black text on a green or gray background.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
And it's on the side and small, like...
And vertical, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad.
Yes.
So, for me, a lot the same. I tried really hard to keep comparisons to Dino Island out of the review itself. I wanted to review this game as this game.
Yeah.
But, anywhere you look, people are comparing them. And it makes sense. They came out roughly the same time. They're dinosaur park management games.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot of comparisons there. We kind of alluded to it with Zach when you were asking about how the dinosaurs, how I felt about like the DNA system. Despite the fact it's dice based, I like it better in Dino Island. I like the unique dinosaurs in DinoGenics. I like the worker placement in DinoGenics of the common board where there's actual player interaction in the worker placement rather than Dino Island where it's like, I'm placing them on my own player board, which is more of a resource allotment.
There is a spot for that, but
there's not nearly enough.
No, not. Yes, I can understand that.
But then I like the way like security and things are handled better in Dino Island. Like I like that you invest in security, which can... like if you've got really good security, you can have really dangerous dinosaurs and be okay. I wish that they could just be smushed together into one game. Like I want to take the best from each of them.
One mutant board game.
Yeah, exactly. Ultimately, I think they're different enough if you like either of them, or if you really like both of them. I think they're different enough that you can own both. I'm not sure I have a super strong desire to own either. Especially because I don't have any strong attachment to dinosaur games. Like, dinosaurs are cool, and I would love to have a really good dinosaur game, but I'm not going to give them bonus points for being dinosaurs. I used to do that for, like, zombies. Like, I used to let a lot of shit pass because, it's a zombie game, but even zombies, my favorite theme of all time is, like, it's got to have good gameplay. Like, I don't give a fuck about trains, but right now I'm in love with train games because they're good mechanics. And so it's kind of, I want to like it. I want to like them both a lot more than I do. Yeah, they're okay. I liked it at 5, but it took so much longer at 5.
Yeah.
And you run into this, like, is the extra time investment worth the extra enjoyment that I'm getting out of it?
But I am glad we did do that 5th because we were, after our last 3-player one, we were not.
Oh, this would have been a bad review.
Yes.
And which the 5-player gives me faith that when I look back at the 4-player ones I did before the Kickstarter, the enjoyment from those was probably legitimate. 4 and 5, probably pretty good game. Might run a bit long. There's definitely, God, they need another rule book. They need a rule. If they do a second Kickstarter for this or a second edition, they got to clean up the rules before I'd have any interest in it. But yeah, 4 and 5 players, probably pretty good. 3 players, not a chance I want to play it at 3 players again. I won't play it at 3 players again.
Yeah.
I have not had a single play at 3 good, and most of my plays have been at 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's okay. Zach, what do you think?
I think I would probably continue that okay train. There's definitely things I like in this game, and I'm sure you heard about them during the actual review themselves, but the fact that dinosaurs are unique, the fact that you actually are making, like, caring about the logistics of managing those dinosaurs in the park itself. The
building the fences around
building
them.
the fences around them, and then, like, for for the carnivores, you're having to get food, and there are buildings that can help you focus on certain things like that. I do appreciate that. I like that it does feel more. It feels more standard worker placement, but it is good at least that at higher player counts you do feel that that restriction in the blocking in there. Components are for the most part great. I like the art that they are going for.
We never mentioned the insert.
The insert is
good.
It's good. It's fine. It holds things. It's not a Fantasy Flight trench.
No, it's a lot of recessed areas
Yes.
to keep everything.
Just a bunch of bins that
Separate everything.
I mean, kind of. You still end up having to double up most of the dinosaurs and things.
But it's also, I mean, there's also a small amount enough of dinosaurs where it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And I
it's certain.
I didn't think it was worth mentioning, so I didn't mention it.
And insert is serviceable. But so for me, at least comparing it to Dinosaur Island, I think I have to give the edge to Dinosaur Island because really, like this one,
Better rule book.
it's better. It's not great, but
Okay.
it was better. This one feels like a safer game in some respects because that one feels like it's throwing a whole bunch of ideas on the wall. It had like
and let's make it 90s.
yes, which I'm fine with the 90s theme on that one, but I liked all the different phases. I liked how even though I liked like Adrian, like I was saying Adrian earlier, the resource management of making the dinosaurs, I like that better than the card management on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the open randomness of that game versus the closed randomness of this one.
Yep.
And the manipulation cards are good in theory, but I feel some of them are a lot more powerful than others. And seeing me get to use like a lot of good ones and other people didn't, or other people using really good ones and me not being able to, you felt the leg up that they gave you.
Yeah, because that was something that I didn't really touch on. Like, I feel like if you're not using manipulation cards, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Like, they're so powerful.
Yeah,
It's a matter.
I give myself 8 money.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like everybody needs to be doing those, and that creates a little bit of tension there, a little bit because there's only 2 spots to get them and only 2 spots to use them. But there's no viable strategy to I'm not going to use these game breaking cards in the game.
Yeah.
Especially when you can get a free dinosaur on
Exactly.
a die roll or something.
Yeah, well, I know at least one time I used both spots because I had great cards in my hand and other people didn't have good enough cards to do it. And so you just feel that, like we keep coming back to the randomness of the cards, like helping you more than other people, and they didn't really have anything they could really do about. I mean, they're not going to take a spot to use a card that's not worth it right now.
No.
So yeah. This, I mean, overall, it's a fine game if you are definitely more interested in the worker placement aspect. This one is a lot stronger than Dinosaur Island, but I found that one had more interesting choices for like making your park feel unique
Because it had all the staff.
it had all the staff and the different
amenities,
and then every game felt different because of the different plot twists and shit that would come into play. Whereas this one, every time, like we were saying, I was building T-Rexes and Brontosaurus. Adrian was building the pterodactyls and getting the hotels, and it was like we found stuff that worked for us, and we were doing roughly the same thing, and it 2 times I was able to win, or no, the first time was different. So one time I was able to win doing that, and one time Adrian was able to win doing that. So, but we were doing roughly the same thing each time. So
one thing we didn't really mention, you mentioned a little bit, like 5-player game goes long. I feel the game in general goes pretty long.
Yes.
It's 7 rounds.
it's 7 rounds.
I mean, time wise though, it's 2 hours.
Yeah. I always felt this game. I felt this game felt long.
Yeah. Also,
Fair enough.
I tend to be more a fan of
We got
whatever.
to round 4, and I was just like, Jesus, there's another 3 rounds.
Yeah. The fact that this one just goes a certain amount of rounds, I tend to like more when you have a goal and whenever you get to said goal.
Yeah.
Because then, if you want to make it a longer game, you make the goal longer. If you want to make a shorter game, you make the goal shorter.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's just you're playing 7 rounds, and you're playing 7 rounds.
And then who got the points at the end?
Yep.
Was it further than 1 point away from everyone?
Yeah.
Close games that we played.
To an extent, yeah. Very high value, but yes.
Yes. It was very close pretty much the whole way until the end.
Until the end, yes.
Yeah.
But I do think this is also one where people who have played this game before will do better than someone who hasn't.
Yeah.
So
Typically.
Yeah.
That wraps up our thoughts and everything. Let's hear from the listeners in our listener feedback section. Zach, over on BGG, you had a thread.
Yes, I did.
What are people saying?
Many things. The first of which is from Jeff from Calgary. Calgary Jeff. If each of you were a dinosaur, which dinosaur would you be?
This isn't the Q&A episode anymore.
I
What
mean,
the shit?
Raptor's always been my favorite, even though they're
Same.
actually the size of like a poodle. So.
Well, so it depends on which raptor.
I'm talking about Velociraptor. Because there's the Utah Raptor.
Utah Raptor's actually decent size.
It's bigger than the raptor in Jurassic Park is like in between the Utah Raptor, which is the tallest one, where's the biggest actual raptor, and then I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
Cephalopus, whatever that one is. Like, but so actual raptors much smaller.
Poodle size.
Yes, poodle size. But
Labrador.
Yes, Labradoodle. How about that?
Yeah.
But my answer would be Utah Raptor.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I like raptors,
Uh-huh.
and so I don't really like, but I don't want to follow Zach.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why I went.
now I'm
That's why I
just,
went first.
God damn it. You stole the best one.
You can be a compy and eat Peter Straw.
No.
Peter Stormare.
Yeah.
I'd much sooner be a Dilophosaurus and eat fucking
Nedry. I mean,
Newman.
Newman.
That's what I was looking for,
Yeah.
was Newman. I don't know. Spinosaurus is pretty sweet. I like their long crocodile jaws and their big fin.
Do a lot of swimming.
It's also the worst. Well, no, sorry, the second worst movie. So
Fucking that Jurassic Park ruined Spinosauruses. I like Dilophosaurus. Again, another one that was in a bad Jurassic Park movie. Like basically every dinosaur that's not a T-Rex and a Velociraptor was in a bad Jurassic Park movie. And even T-Rex and Velociraptor were in the bad ones too.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know.
I'd have to go Triceratops.
there you go. Great scene in the first movie. First movie.
yeah.
So that's
in
a
a
big
pack.
old pile of shit.
Yeah, that's one big pile of shit.
Yep.
I remember as a kid reading at one point that Stegosauruses had two brains, one in their head and one in their tail, and that they'd fall asleep in their head and then their tail one would make them walk into tar pits. Totally not true,
No.
but that's the kind of bullshit you learn when,
The double dinosaur brain myth.
Oh yeah.
yeah. So,
So what are you
travel-
going with, Adrian? Stegosaurus?
did I not actually decide?
No. Go walk in some tar pits.
I'll walk in a tar pit. Brachiosaurus
Okay.
/ Brontosaurus, because they're the same dinosaur.
Big dinosaur.
It's a big fucking dinosaur.
I think there's even, I don't remember what the biggest one is. It's like Gigantosaurus?
No.
Ultrasaurus?
Ultrasaurus sounds better, but
Google says Argentinosaurus hunilocenaris was the largest one
Herbivore.
which I mean the biggest ones were all herbivores.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's real
estimated
big.
to have between 50 and 96.4 metric tons. Jesus Christ.
There's a chart that shows
Yes.
how much bigger this shit was than literally everything else.
Oh yeah, it was gigantic. It's funny is when you see actual dinosaur pictures, they're a lot stubbier than movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like that T-Rex sure looks thick.
Next question or comment or whatever it is.
It's Q&A.
Dinosaur Q&A.
This is from Joe. Is there any callback to Jurassic Park that beats the clever grill for Dinosaur Island?
There is not.
No, they didn't try and get any pun. They didn't try and get this punny. So
No, this one stayed far more serious. Like everything, artwork,
yes,
gameplay, everything seemed, well, not necessarily gameplay, but artwork and puns and things seem much more grounded than Dino Island.
Yep.
Dino Island leaned into, this is a nostalgia thing from the 90s. We're going to lean into a bunch of 90s shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Next one is from Morton.
He's replying to Calgary Jeff.
Yes, saying that he'd be a slackosaur. Yeah.
Just like everyone else on Slack.
Yeah. Yes. And last one is from Boyd. Were any Jeffs hurting? Were any Jeffs hurt during the making of this review?
Technically,
Yeah.
I mean, when does the making of the review start? Like during our
I mean,
play?
we planned it like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And in the last 2 weeks,
I got sick.
You had
So
a
I kinda
pulmonary
stayed-
embolism, and you had
Yeah, that's
that was less than 2 weeks ago.
15 days ago. Daylight savings day.
Felt like it was further back than that.
No.
So maybe.
I mean, it feels like a long time for me
Yeah.
because I was in
We
bed
certainly
for
had
4
more
days.
Well,
days.
here's the question: how many days has it been now since the last Jeff incident?
I guess
2?
2? Yeah.
yeah.
2 when I finally was able to get out of bed,
Yes.
which I guess is the end of that incident.
Mhm.
Yeah. So 2 days since the last Jeff incident.
Yeah. We'll see how the card
We
does.
need to get like one of those like signs. How many, like
How long has it been since Jeff has been in the hospital?
Yeah. Next, it's going to be the car.
Yeah.
The car is definitely what's going next.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But probably in a way that you will also have to go back into the hospital, I would assume.
I mean, I just get not new tires, so at least not that.
Okay.
No, it'll just be one of the other dozen things.
Yeah, that can happen to a car.
Yeah. Wheel's probably not going to fall off.
The tires won't, but the wheel might.
I just got a new bolt put on. So.
All right. So thanks for the awesome contributions, listeners, to the BGG thread. So many very pertinent questions about how this game plays or works or anything. Cost and availability, it's not super available, and where it is, it costs a lot. You can jump over on BGG in the Geek Market and get it for $100 to $150 used.
I feel.
Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look into the details of the different Geek Market listings.
I feel they said they might be looking into doing another, like a second
Kickstarter,
printing.
yeah, at some
so
point.
I would if you're interested, keep an eye out there for that.
Indeed. Think that pretty much wraps it all up. If you are interested in getting a hold of us to talk about this episode or about literally anything else, you can do so in a lot of different ways. You can send us tweets. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
You can also always send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can go over to our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, where Zach does weekly episode posts, where you can get feedback before or after the episodes. Whatever you choose, it's up to you. Go fucking nuts. We also have Facebook and Instagram, both of them /MileHighGameGuys. And over on our website, milehighgameguys.com, there are episode posts, which include links to all the things we talk about, the games we review, the Kickstarters, the news, whatever, as well as links to our Slack channel, where 100 or so of us all dick around all the time, even more during work hours. Links to our Patreon, where you can support us, patreon.com/milehighgameguys, and links to that BGG guild that I already talked about. So all of that right there, nice and handy, milehighgameguys.com, as well as really old pictures of all three of us that may not be representative of how we look now.
Correct.
Yeah, possibly.
But yeah, that wraps up the episode. Thanks everybody for listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed the review. We'll be back next Wednesday with another banter episode. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm a can of shaving cream Jeff.
Bye.
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 And if you're playing,
Sorry.
you good? Okay. So the Jeff, are you good?
Yeah.
Adrian, are you still
Well,
good?
let's just wait.
I need to confirm both of you are simultaneously good.
Punchboard Media,
where we all
Bring something
to the table
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.